Are you thinking about where your next RV road trip will be? I have been tossing a few ideas around for 2025, and I will start in January to actually start planning the trip out and booking the campsites. Because if you wait too long, you might not get the campsites that you really want. So at the end of December or beginning of January, I'll start to pull out my road atlas and my computer and seriously get started on making my 2025 dream trip a reality. This year, I visited the Great Lakes, all 5 of them, with my main focus or endpoint on Voyageurs National Park in Minnesota. 6 months, 57 stops, 7,000 miles, and about 118 hours of RV driving. This trip was about 30% longer than my 2023 trip from Florida to Maine, Acadia National Park, and back. And it was a lot of new, unfamiliar territory, unlike the Florida to Maine trip, and it really stretched my comfort zone. Here are the 6 steps I used to plan my perfect road trip. Number 1 is the dreaming step, kind of where I am right now. Think about where you might want to go and what you might want to see. You can research the things to do in the area, watch a lot of YouTube videos, which is one of my favorite pastimes, read blogs, and I also check out Pinterest for a lot of great ideas on where to travel and what to do once I get there. My second step is to map it out. I use a planning app that I'll share with you later, where I punch in my final destination and maybe other places along the way that I might want to stop. This is my dream big stage where I put in every place that I might want to go. Through the app, I can look at it on a map. It will tell me how many miles it is, how many stops it is. It will also show me other things along the route, other points of interest or places that I might want to go. So I really have a lot of places I want to stop in this phase. Step 3 is I do more research. Once I have everything in that I'd like to do, I start to delete some of those stops that don't fit in with the trip based on how far of a drive it is from one stop to another. I delete stops, I rearrange stops. Are any of the places that I've chosen a really far drive from the overall picture where I can just put it into another trip, maybe for 2026? And then ask yourself the question, how badly do you want to see it? How far are you willing to drive to go see that destination that may not fit in with this trip? Last year, after I had everything arranged, I decided to reverse my trip, which was easy to do through the app. I changed my original plans so that I could join my father and my sister on the 4th of July at something that they do every year that I normally don't get to do with them. Also, after doing the research, I realized that some of the stops may be better to do in September or October rather than June or July based on crowds or what I actually want to see while I'm there. In this stage, I can kind of take things and move it around and then see what that final result is on the app. Step 5, for the Thousand Trails campgrounds that I can't quite book yet, I make a note on my hard copy calendar so I remember the exact day that I can book them and I can go on and get the campground that I want. When you book early, it ensures that you can get into the campgrounds that you really want to stay at. And step 6, I fill in the campgrounds that Thousand Trails or Encore can't help me with, and I use national parks, state parks, harvest hosts, and KOAs. Harvest hosts are turning out to be less expensive than the national parks and the state parks. By the time you pay for the site, and then the online booking fee of $7 or $8, and then sometimes even you have to pay a state park entrance fee. It brings your stop up to well over $50, and in some parks you have no hookups at all, so why not use a harvest host where the recommended daily spend is $30. So I will be renewing my harvest host membership this year. I'll put a link in the description below. Harvest hosts provide me with safe, fun, and unique places to spend the night, like an alpaca farm or a winery or a brewery. Once I have everything picked out, it will take me about 7 days to go through the process and reserve all the campsites, even if I have to continue booking them once I start my journey. Because I'm not familiar with anything or any place I'm going next year, I am researching each destination to see exactly what there is to do and how to do it while I'm there. And I'm writing it all in a spiral notebook. Do I need to book reservations for boat trips or reservations to enter a national park? What else is there to do in the area? I write that all down in my notebook with the information about the campsite reservation that I've made, which I can also enter on my app. Will my RV fit? Is there room for a 27-foot RV with a tow vehicle, which puts my total length at 41 feet? Because I want to go into the Dakotas and Montana next year, there are not 1,000 trails in that area. So I'm also going to have to do some more research on boondocking to help keep the costs down. And because my birthday is in August when I'm always on the road, I choose a special place that I want to spend the day. Because I probably won't be with family or friends, I will be celebrating with strangers. Fortunately, I love to plan. I love the planning process. It's part of the whole trip. I like to get a feel for where I'm going. I like to put it all together to create an amazing experience for myself so that I don't miss anything that I want to see. Sometimes when I get where I'm going and I do a research again to see what's in the area, I might find extra things to do. I always allow a couple of extra days in my plans to do those things that you don't necessarily know about until you get where you're going, and you might talk to a local and someone recommends something fun to do in the area that you wouldn't know about without talking to a local. Sometimes plans have to change. You might decide to add that spontaneous new stop at a place you've learned about along the way, or you may have to cut your trip short. In fact, the first part of my trip in 2024 included some places like Dollywood and Pigeon Forge that I had to cut my trip short for last year. I also have a list of places that I find along my way that I was not able to get to, but I'd like to go back to someday, or someplace I really enjoyed that I'd like to visit again. Last year, I got all the way to Acadia National Park in Maine and went to the top of Cadillac Mountain, where there's an amazing view or sunrise, depending on the time of day you go, only to find that we were up in the clouds. I couldn't see a thing. All we could see were the signs and what we were supposed to be looking at. This year, I didn't get to do the Kentucky Bourbon Trail, and I ended up back in the Poconos for a couple of unplanned weeks. I'm hoping to incorporate the Kentucky Bourbon Trail in at some point next year in my 2025 trip. So let me share the RV planning app that I use. I've tried a couple of them, and the one that I decided to stick with was Road Trippers. I love the layout and the ability to see campgrounds and things to do on the way. It also comes with To Go RV, which is a service and repair finder. There's an RV safe GPS, which is important when you need to go under small bridges or if you're carrying propane or depending on the length of your vehicle. There's recall alerts, campgrounds, overnight parking, Road Pass University, and other member offers. And it also includes Campendium that will show you campgrounds along your route with campground reviews and internet signal strengths. On your travel days, all you do is open your app, click on your next destination, and it will provide your planned GPS route for you. Or you can pick a different GPS system if you'd like to. You can also download the directions or take a picture on your phone in case you should lose connectivity while you're on your way. And you can share your route with family and friends. While dreaming and planning where you want to go is part of the fun, it can be a bit overwhelming when you're only trying to drive a certain distance every day. I like to keep my trips under 200 miles, and Road Trippers will not only show me the distance between the two locations, but the estimated RV drive time that it will take. So figuring out where to spend the night, if you're like me, making all the reservations in advance, takes some time and energy. Usually I will work on it for a couple hours, then take a break and work on it more later until I have all the bones of the trip in place. On Road Trippers, you can put in your specific rig size, the length and height for that RV-friendly GPS. It will help you avoid things like low bridges, dirt roads, tunnels, and even tolls if you choose. When you create a trip, you can see the mileage and driving distances between locations, also the mileage and driving distance of the overall trip, as well as a projected full trip cost on your gas, which I have found to be very accurate. And you can pull Road Trippers right up either on your phone or on your computer. I'll leave a link for Road Trippers in the description below. They do offer a 7-day free trial. I know that there are people out there who just choose a destination that just drive until they can't go anymore and then find a place to sleep in their RV or motorhome wherever they are, either a campground or a Walmart or a Cabela's or a Cracker Barrel. That's just not me, at least not yet. I'm not back in Florida yet, so never say never. And I do applaud those people who can just let loose and let go. But for now, I still like the comfort of a gated community or a place with a reservation, especially traveling as a solo female. Let me know in the comments below which type of traveling personality you are. Free-spirited and finding a spot wherever you can sleep for the night, or are you a control addict like me who likes to plan every step of the way? If you'd like to know more about Thousand Trails memberships and my adventure package, I will leave a link in the blog post I wrote about it in the description below.